people of the internet. So today's Wednesday, and I wanted to share a little Women Win the Day Wednesday with you guys, as you've done in the past. So a little bit about Women Win the Day Wednesday. I first started doing this to create something for myself to look forward to during the week. I don't know about you guys, but definitely scrolling through social media and Facebook, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by everything that's going on in the world. And so Women Win the Day Wednesday was a little project I assigned to myself to make sure I spend the time to find the women that are making the changes, that are moving the needle, that are changing the game, and make sure to keep me inspired. So I want to share those people with you guys of who I found this last week. But first I wanted to start off with saying a little bit about what inspired this week's list of people. I think with Liva Radla, the biggest thing that I've been trying to do is to inspire girls and women, inspire them to find their voices, to use their voices, to follow their mission, and to do whatever it is that they decide to set their minds to. Liva Radla was created to not only empower girls and women, but to liberate girls and women. So as such, I would like to share with you guys a few women who have inspired me. So first I want to start off with one who kind of hits close to home for me. A big thing that I was looking at in the women for this week was not only finding the women that I aligned with, but that inspired me to take on following my mission. So I guess that would be my biggest intention for this week's Women Win the Day Wednesday. I'd like to encourage you guys to find what it is that your mission is, and not only that, but find your tribe, find who's already doing it, find who's already been there, who's already dealt with these hardships, and listen to their stories. I promise you, yes, following your mission, following your voice will get lonely and you will get lost, but as long as you have your tribe backing you up every step of the way, nothing will hurt you. So the first one that I wanted to highlight here is Alicia Graziosi. Lisa is a hairstylist. She owns a hair studio in Scottsdale. And Lisa inspired me because I actually discovered Lisa through Dean Graziosi. He is an author and entrepreneur and teaches other entrepreneurs. And it was in hearing his story about the underdog advantage. You see, Lisa is a Latina. She's native to here in Arizona, and her family are immigrants. And Lisa has built her brand from the bottom up. She's known in Scottsdale for doing the best hair extensions, and women drop a lot of money to make sure she's the one who does them. And the thing that inspired me the most about Lisa is that she now, after becoming a mother, even through her pregnancy, she decided she wanted to teach women to do what she does. You see, she figured out her niche is not just being a hairdresser, but she specifically likes to help women with hair extensions because she knows she could do the specific way it comes out just right. And so Lisa decided that she's going to teach women how to do hair extensions in that same way, to be able to monetize and profit their salon the same way that she did. You see, the thing about Lisa is, even though she's a hairstylist, she makes well over 100K a year, and that is a lot more than the average hairstylist. Not only that, but she is able to own her own salon along with assistants to help her manage her book of business. And I think Lisa caught my eye not only because she's a Latin woman following what it is that her passion is and sparking a light into people, but she has also taken care of her family every step of the way along that. And she continues to be family oriented, to teach other women how to be successful. And I think it's very inspiring to see another Latina wanting to help other women. So while we're speaking about women here, and the first three I have here are Arizonans. I'm from Tucson, Arizona. So like I said, find your tribe, find the people you align with. These are just people that personally align with me because not only did I see that they're local to where I am, but they have bits of their story that are like mine. So the next one that I have here is Radio Suzette. And Radio Suzette is actually a host on, I know it here is 93.7. I'm not quite sure what it is in other places, but the John J. Mitch Show. Radio Suzette actually is native to Tucson, Arizona. I first was able to interact with her through an organization I was a part of, Future Business Leaders of America. She came down while she was still the host for Tucson's radio show, 98.3. And she showed support to our school. And later she was promoted to go host the show up in Phoenix. And recently she decided to launch a podcast. I believe it's called Be Raw. Suzette Rodriguez decided that she not only wanted to inspire people with being raw, being authentic, but wanted to showcase other people's stories. So she's using her voice, using her podcasts to be authentic, to be raw, to be real with people about life and how people came to be, how they got to where they are. I think people always hear about like the success stories once they're there and don't realize like how much hardship goes along the way. So I would say, especially if you're Tucsonan, I would highly recommend listening to Radio Suzette's podcast, especially the first one. I think she just gets really authentic with where she came from and the reason as to why she decided to continue to spread her message. But Suzette Rodriguez, to me, was an inspiration because she also is a daughter of immigrant, and she's built her way up. She's built her brand. She's put in her work. She's kept her head down, and she's made it happen. And same thing goes for my third local here that I have on my list, Wendy Garcia. And Wendy actually is a restaurant owner here in Tucson. I found Wendy very inspirational because here in Tucson, to be quite honest, there's not a lot of vegan options. And as a restaurant owner, I think Wendy realized that she noticed that not only is there no vegan, but who's gonna make the vegan tacos? I will say, as going into my vegan journey, that was the thing I missed the most. And it was when I discovered her little shop, Tomerico, that I just fell in love. Wendy now has moved on to open other locations along with La Charia, down on past Congress. I'm not quite sure what the exact streets are, but she actually put it closer to the south side, and I was very in awe to see a vegan shop on the south side in a less privileged, bit more poverty place. And I noticed that Wendy just really wants to give her community help. She wants to give back to her community. She wants to show them how to eat well. And if you've noticed, every single woman in this has had a different passion, different little niche that they're into, and whether it be doing hair, whether it be being on a radio show, whether it be being a chef, they all have some little superpower that they're using to their advantage to put their light into others. So those are my first round of Women Win the Day. I just loved finding these women and hearing their stories and where they came, because all of them had a journey along the way, and even though we see the end of all the fancy and cool stuff, like, these women were really down to earth and had some really great goals and aspirations that they wanted to meet. That leads me into my next set of Women That Win the Day. So last week, as I said in the beginning of the live, my intention is to, one, motivate you guys to find what your mission, what your message is, to start speaking it, but two, to then find your tribe, find the people who've been where you want to be, and listen to their stories. So I'm sure you've heard pretty much all of the craziness that's been going on here in the States of protest, and all of that. And there was actually this one story, had nothing to do with the protest, but she caught my eye solely because she also was fighting for justice. Sarah Turney, she's the host of the Voices for Justice podcast. Sarah actually started a Justice for Alicia campaign. I'm not quite sure how long ago. I discovered it probably a few months ago when quarantine happened. You see, Sarah wanted to have justice for her sister. Her sister was murdered by her stepdad, and her stepdad was freed, never to be questioned. And she wanted justice for the death of her sister. And so Cher went on with a mission. She went on to TikTok, she created a podcast, she went on to Twitter, she went on to all platforms that she could think of. And she said that she needed justice for her sister, that she needed her voice to be spread, because how else was she gonna do it? And I've been following Sarah for a few months, like I said, but last week, justice was finally served, and Alyssa's stepdad was arrested for the murder. And I think it's these little things, like, people don't realize change the world. Similarly enough, I'm sure you guys heard that soldier that went missing, and guys, te juro that we would not have discovered that body if that girl's mother would not have fought for it. I'm sure you guys all have heard the Justice for Vanessa Guillen, and to think that if her mother didn't go on to news stations, she didn't go on Telemundo, she didn't go and plea on camera with people for justice for her daughter, they never would have found her. They never would have looked for her. Think about that. I think it's things like these where these women decide, like, no, there's nothing that's going to stop me from doing this. And I think we underestimate how loud our voices can get. So I'd like to remind you that, yes, we are just one person. But when our voices unite, we get to change anything we set our minds to. Porque juntos somos fuertes. Black Lives Matter. So I'm sure you guys have seen all the stuff going on here in the States. And again, I really like to encourage you guys to realize how much power your voice has, especially when we come together. Especially when we come together. So I'd like to share with you guys a story of my experience with kind of seeing everything play out from the protests to Black Lives Matter to social media. So, as you guys probably knew, this whole thing started because George Floyd, a cop, decided to kneel on his neck for 7 minutes while he screamed that he couldn't breathe. And to be quite frank with you guys, this is not something out of the ordinary. Ever since that video popped up, I swear I've seen so many threads. And it was this one, though, that sparked the uproar. And I remember it was in May. Quarantine was happening, so it was pretty quiet. Like, everything we were doing has shifted online. Nobody was really going outside. And for me, I'm a dancer, a choreographer, a performer. And so even though quarantine happened, it was pretty quickly after that that a lot of dance instructors shifted to doing classes online. And I was taking them probably like at least every other day. And protests started happening the weekend right before my birthday. And then I remember that Monday, a choreographer posted, "Hey, just a heads up, we're doing Blackout Tuesday." And I'm sure you guys all remember Blackout Tuesday, but you know how it started. Because the origin of Blackout Tuesday was not for you guys to repost a black screen. It wasn't to show that you guys were united with us. It was for performers. Blackout Tuesday, or also the hashtag "the show must be stopped," was actually created because, not to name drop any dance companies, but there was a dance company who had a primarily black dance employees, and they decided that during this time they weren't going to speak out about anything. You know, to be able to say, like, speak out on all these different things throughout the year that's happening in the news and the media, and not speak out about something so big when your main employee base are these people. These dancers felt not only unheard but not seen. So these black dancers at this studio, I believe it was in California, decided that the show must be stopped. That we are going to black out that Tuesday and make them hear our voice. And it was that one company, that one dance company, that started telling their friends, "Make sure to post. The show must be stopped. Blackout Tuesday." And I remember that Monday before it happened, one of my dance teachers that I was taking classes on virtually had posted, "Just a heads up, reminder, nobody's doing anything tomorrow. Blackout Tuesday, the show must be stopped. If you're a performer, please repost this. Blackout, we're posting a black picture, just hashtag this." And originally, Blackout Tuesday was meant for the performers to post that the show must be stopped, that we are in alliance with our black dancers, with our black friends, that with the black people here, and if their voice doesn't matter, then our voices don't. We aligned as a dance community, we aligned as a performing community, and we decided that we weren't going to do any dance classes, nobody was going to perform, and so we stopped the show. And I remember posting it that morning, Blackout Tuesday, and by the afternoon my mind was blown at how much people reposted it without knowing anything. I started seeing like so many normal people repost it on my feed with just posting hashtag Blackout Tuesday, hashtag Black Lives Matter, hashtag, and so many people reposted this without actually knowing what the actual origin was for and what the meaning behind it was. But it caused us all to realize how easy it was to get our voices out there. I want you to think about that. You remember that Tuesday when you saw nothing but black on your screen? It started from one dancer saying that they were important enough to have a voice. One dancer being angry enough that they weren't being seen to tell their friends that this ain't right. It took dancers to have to stand up with one another for all of the world to realize that shit ain't right. Do you guys realize the power of your voices? Did you guys know that the Black Lives Matter, not the whole everything going on because that's separate, but the Black Lives Matter movement itself, BLM.org, was actually founded by 3 women. It was founded back in 2013, all of the protests started happening for a little boy that was shot. They decided that they wanted to unite their voices and to give Black people a platform to follow. And so 3 women sat together and they created BLM in honor of Trayvon. And now here we are, 7 years later, and holy fuck, it's built out a movement. I think the Blackout Tuesday and Stop the Show was separate from the BLM movement itself, but it's crazy to see how these forces kind of take and shift into these things. So I'd like to leave you with this yet again. Find your voice, find your message, and spread it. But most of all, find your tribe. Guys, I'm sure you heard all of these women that I've highlighted to you guys. I've noticed that they all persisted. Earlier this week, I decided to take some of my videos and finally upload them to YouTube. And within an hour, I got a really nasty comment from a dude talking about how feminists are stupid. And I'm sure for anybody, the first reaction would be like, fuck, I shouldn't have posted that. Or I've been like, yeah, I'm not gonna go read that right now. But I have these tribe of people that I decided to surround myself with. And so I screenshotted it and I sent it to my tribe and I said, look at this. And I told them like what I was thinking. At first, my reaction was like, how could somebody have so much hate? Like, I'm just trying to spread this message, trying to liberate women, trying to empower them. How could somebody have hate in their heart for what I'm saying? And Russell Brunson actually taught me this. If your message is strong, if it's powerful, there's always going to be somebody on the opposing side not agreeing with it. And that's okay, because those aren't the people that you're going to work with. Think about that. sure along your journey you will find hate, but as long as you find those people that keep you up, that keep you your head lifted and tell you to keep going, even on those days that you get hate messages, that's important, guys. I'm sure none of these women would have got to where they are without having support. So I'd like to encourage you to not only find your message, but find your tribe. As such, too, I am a big believer in you are who you surround yourself with. And if you not only surrounding yourself with your friends, but similar to what I did today, like I spent the time to go and look at the women who are doing things similar to what I want to be doing. Find the people that are going along the same journey as you. And I promise you, though you will feel lost still, you'll feel supported. So hopefully that Women Won Wednesday kind of gave you some insight as to just how great and mighty our voices can be, especially when we unite them, as well as invite you guys to our own little Liberadla tribe. As I was saying throughout this whole live, not only find your message, but find your tribe. And we actually have our own little Facebook group with women who are inspired to liberate and empower other women, women who want to lift up other women, as well as women who will support each other when shit gets rough. So if you are in need of a tribe, I'll go ahead and drop that link onto how to join that group below, and let me know what you're thinking below about some of the women I spoke about today. I'd love to hear if any of these women inspired you. But thank you guys for listening. Hopefully that inspired you guys to win the day this Wednesday. But have a wonderful rest of your week, and don't forget to Ribaratla.